For the others, good afternoon or even good evening. So, yep, welcome to this webinar. And yep, this webinar will be focused on Power BI. So, I got to be honest with you. So, this webinar will not make you a Power BI expert in a span of 1.5 hours. So, it's impossible for us to do that. So my intention, my goal for this webinar is to actually kickstart your journey so that when you open this software, it would be easy for you to like navigate on the different buttons and the different options that you can click because oftentimes if we work on like a new software, it is typically overwhelming when we see this tons of buttons to click. So that's my intention for this webinar. Again, my name is Jeff Raim Balilla. You can just call me Jeff. And currently, I'm one of the data science lecturers in SkillSpire and also the current product manager. So I want this webinar to be as interactive as possible. I don't want you to just watch me do the things. I want you to also follow me through the process. So I will be sharing you a link to a folder containing the files that I'll be using so that you can follow me through each of the steps. Okay? So I hope you have installed your Power BI desktop in your computer. Or if you're on mobile now, then you can open your laptop so that you can follow me through the steps. Okay, so all right, let's start this. So I've segmented the topics into three equal parts because this webinar is intended for 1.5 hours. So under the introduction, the first part are these topics. So for the first topic, we will be discussing a bit of background about Power BI. So, what do we mean by uh, Power BI? What does the BI stands for? And also, we will be discussing why do we need to study this? I mean, there are tons of software out there. There are there are alternatives, but why Power BI? So I'm not in any way connected to Microsoft, just to let you know. But I'll be talking about the advantages and also some disadvantages of Power BI, okay, in this section. And on the third part, on the third topic under introduction, we will be talking about the process in how we can import our data set. So, for example, you have an Excel file and you want to do manipulation, you want to do visualizations out of it. How can you load it to Power BI? So we'll be talking about those processes in the third section of the introduction. And lastly, the model view. So the model view is a very important part of the Power BI system because it allows us to work on multiple tables at once. So if you're familiar with like Power Pivot in Microsoft Excel, that allows us to work on multiple spreadsheets, multiple workbooks. Basically, it's almost the same because this software are built by the same company, so they are built to be compatible with each other. And on the second part of this webinar, we will be discussing data transformations via Power Query Editor. So we'll be doing a hands-on discussion here. So I'll be sharing you the Superstore data set, and we will be tweaking and we will be doing some editing of the attributes or the variables in this data set. And for the second part, we will be creating new measures and calculated columns using Power BI DAX. So DAX is or stands for data analytics expression. So we will do a bit of coding, but don't be scared. I know that you love coding, being part of Probably most of you here are part of the club, big data, analytics, and artificial intelligence. So coding is in our blood. Okay. So, um, however, we will be only discussing like the basic syntax in this section because we only have a limited time. We cannot go over like until the intermediate syntax. But at least, again, my intention for this webinar is to kickstart your journey, so that when you see like a basic expression in DAX, you would recognize its parts. Okay, so that's my goal. And lastly, we have interactive visualizations. So typically, Power BI is being used to create um, interactive visualization. So it is but a requirement for us to touch some portion of it. So we will be discussing the data visualization best practices, the do's and the don'ts, right? So we'll not just jump and create our visualizations, but we will be talking about the things we should avoid. Like uh, you have 20 categories in your pie chart, right? So we will be talking about those kind of things, and it would be really beneficial for us because I can think of any role that doesn't require the skill of communication. So even as a data analyst, it's always an advantage if you can communicate your insights properly. So we will be talking about those things. And then on the last part, we will be creating a dashboard. And we will be talking about what dashboard is. So it's like a magical term, but uh, we will sort of demystify the meaning of a dashboard, okay, in the simplest way possible. So here are the contents of this webinar, and hopefully we can accomplish everything in 1.5 hours. So um, maybe even faster so that we can allocate some time for question and answer. So let's start. So let's start with this question. What is Power BI? So probably you have searched for like available roles in companies related to like being a data analyst or a data scientist, and you would see this Power BI as part of the requirement, like a required skill, or if not, good to have type of thing. So Power BI is a business intelligence tool developed by Microsoft. And we know that Microsoft is one of the top companies in the world when it comes to software. And just like what I said earlier, Power BI is typically used for reporting, for communicating the insights of your data. So imagine if I'll be just presenting you, if I'll just be presenting you like scribbles of text, like like a huge table containing tons of figures in it. So that would be ineffective because as humans, it's basically it's difficult for us to um, look for patterns immediately. But it's a different thing when I show you like a graph that gives the distribution of, for example, this variable. So it's easy to see patterns when we we see that kind of things. So aside from Power BI, there are also this other software that's being used for or as business intelligence tool that's called Tableau. Okay, so this two, Power BI and Tableau, are like the main competitors in this field. But the good thing is, if you're familiar with Power BI, then it's very easy to switch to Tableau. And if it is also true the other way around, if you're familiar with Tableau, it's very easy to switch to Power BI since most of the functionalities are almost the same. Okay. And yeah, I'm always talking about business intelligence, but I haven't yet defined it. So, what do we mean by business intelligence? So, it is composed of two words: business and intelligence. So, to put it simply, it allows companies, organizations to do smart decisions. That's the best way to define it. I'm not a fan of uh, like bookish definition of things, but yeah, the simplest way to understand business intelligence is these are like set of tools, set of processes that allows organizations and companies to do smart decisions. So imagine like if CEOs would just be deciding based on their intuition alone, they would be losing huge amount of resources with that. So um, to make it more technical, BI or business intelligence refers to the following processes that you can see at your screen. First is data collection. So suppose that you are working as a manager. So you are fresh out of college and you are working as a manager, like me. And you were asked by your boss, okay, I want you to decide if we will be using website A or website B. So as a freshie, as a newbie in the field, you only have your skills from college to base your decision to. Like probably you have done couple of case studies during college and you're excited. You're excited to apply those things. However, the real world is like a different beast as compared to the things that we do inside the classroom. So you cannot just say, okay, based on my experience before, what I've learned during the different subjects that I've taken during the business school, this would this version or website A would be the best. That's a very wrong thing to do. So all of our decisions in the company should be backed by data. So it's very important that we collect this data. In fact, in everything we do right now, the moment you open your browser or touch your phone, these companies are tracking your data. Like how many times have you clicked a software or an application? How many times have you like sent this kind of emoji? All of those things are being tracked because those information are vital for decisions. Okay, so that's how important data collection is. And one a famous economist coined that data is the new oil. Imagine that. And I love what I'm seeing, especially with this club, because I'm seeing that you are all very passionate about data. I mean, I've been I've been dedicating my life um, for in this field. So I'm very happy seeing you, young people, are very passionate in this field. So you're on the right track. And we have here data transformation. So after you have collected your data, we have to reshape it. We have to transform it, I should say, in a form, in a format that we can do letter C, or the third step, which is data analysis. So we will be talking about this data transformation steps on the second part of this webinar. And for data analysis, this is a broad topic. I mean, there are numerous methods out there. You can do traditional methods, like for example, you are a young investment banker and you want to forecast the price of this particular stock of a company for the next 12 months. I should, for example, then you can use different methods. You can do regression analysis. You can do time series forecasting. You can use machine learning models, artificial neural networks. Those are just some of the methods that you can do. So this data analysis is a broad field, a very broad field, but it allows us to make sense of the data that we have collected and transformed because we humans we lack the capacity to process billions of data points. So that's the advantage of computer or computers against us. So after that, after we have analyzed our data, then we proceed to the last step. And this will be the focus of this webinar, data visualization. And this boils down to one thing, effective communication. How can you effectively communicate your insights? It doesn't matter how complex and how good your analysis is. If you cannot communicate it properly, then it's useless. You won't be able to maximize um, the, the analysis that you did if you can't communicate it properly. So, for example, you should also consider like the audience. Okay, your audience to which you'll be presenting your data. Imagine I've been guiding this university students now. They are doing their study about ultra processed foods, and their respondents are school children. And if you would be showing school children this lengthy paragraphs, this tables, they will not be focusing on those. But imagine if you can show them like pictures. So we should be creative in communicating this visualizations, this insights from our data. And let's proceed to this question: why study Power BI? So I've included here this dashboard that you're seeing at your screen right now is an output of one of my students in SkillsPar. So this is a manufacturing sales profit report, and this is an interactive dashboard. So this is just a snippet, but if I'll be opening this in Power BI, you can actually see the values changing as I scroll from left to right, as I change the filter from the year 2013 to 2014. So this values would change, and also this there is the so-called slicer for country in which we can put a spotlight on a specific country. So we have 5 countries in here. So we can just choose friends, and all of the values would pertain to friends alone. And yep, this is very, very effective. I mean, if they would be asking you, okay, how many, in average, how many units did we sell in this particular location, then you can just shift. And what about the year last year, or assuming that it's 2014 now, assuming that 2013 was last year, you can immediately switch to it. Okay, that's how effective interactive dashboards are. So we want to study. No, no, no. Notice the word that I used here. I did not use want, but I used need. Okay, we need to understand our data. Okay, if we can understand our data, then we cannot reveal the insights out of it. We cannot use it for smart decisions. So we need to understand our data. And again, computers are better in doing that as compared to us. Okay? So it's easier to find crucial insights, and look at the visualization at your screen. It's very easy to spot on, okay, we see this top countries, France, Germany, and Canada. And United States and Mexico is a bit lacking in terms of profit. So we can look into our strategy there. What things are not doing well? How can we adjust them so that the profit would be uh, like at par with this top 3 countries? Okay, so those kind of things you can derive them from effective visualizations. Okay, so again, just like what I told you earlier, I want this session to be as interactive as possible. So I'll be sharing you this link so that you can access, um, let me say, you can access my folder that contains the data set that I'll be using. And yeah, I'll be answering your question later, Nashan. Don't worry. Okay. So, and also that link doesn't have any virus, from what I can remember, at least. Okay, just kidding. So yeah, you can try clicking that link that I put in the chat box so that you can access the files. Okay. So yep, I see Jago. Um, yeah. You should be able to access those files when you click this link. So yep, let's proceed. So we proceed to the model view. Okay, but before that, I want to switch to my Power
Jeff,
BI. Yep, straight.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry to interrupt. It looks like some people have some doubts.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So I don't know if the chat is available for me. I don't know if the rest, but
Oh,
can
okay.
can be shared this link?
Yeah, Sri, do we have a way to
Oh,
uh
I'll just send Diego.
okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Apologies
thank
for
you very
this.
much. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not aware that not everyone can see the checkbox. So, yep. Please wait for Sri. I think he can share it via the general channel or somewhere. So I'll be switching while waiting. I'll be switching to my Power BI and yep. Let's see how it looks. So again, I hope that prior to the meeting, you downloaded your Power BI desktop. Okay, so I see Vishal giving his thumbs up. Yojinder also. Gotham, thank you very much for those responses, everyone. So again, I want this as interactive as possible. Okay, so give those thumbs up, those reactions. If you have anything to ask, just put them in the chat box, and we'll be answering them at the end of the session. So I think we can proceed. So once you open your Power BI desktop, you will be seeing a window like this. So mine is a bit different because I do have some things that I've already done in the past. So these things could not be present at your view, but I'm sure that you'll be seeing this get data option and also this recent sources. So for now, we'll be ignoring all of those things and just hit the close button at the upper right. So just close that window, and you'll be presented by this main window of Power BI. So this is the main window. So this is where the magic happens. You want to create visualization, this is where you do it. But we will reserve that for later after we have established all the important stuffs, okay, the fundamentals. So what I want you to do is to click on import data from Excel. Once you do that, it would give you like a pop-up window that would allow you to search in your local device. Okay, and yeah, you should have downloaded the files from that link, and it should be contained in your downloads folder. So let's open Superstore dataset. Okay, once you click that, you would see this notification connecting, and it would give you this window. Okay, this navigator window. And when you click on the Superstore data, it would give you a preview of your data set. You would see the column names, the attributes or variables, however you call it, of your Excel file. So you can easily verify if this is the correct one that you want to import. Okay. So if it's positive, okay, this is the one that we want. We tick this checkbox in the left side of this Superstore data. When you do that, you will have three options at the bottom. You have the load, you have the transform data, and you have the cancel. Of course, if you hit cancel, then it will just close the navigator window, and we don't want to do that. So for the transform data, when you click that, it would give you the Power Query Editor, the place in which you can do data transformation. Um, you can edit your attributes or variables. You can create new measures or new columns. But for now, I just want you to load it. Okay, click the load button. And if you do that, this window would show. It would tell you that, okay, this number of rows has been loaded in your Power BI. Okay, and I hope you can follow. And then, okay, nothing happens, Jeff. So how do we make sure that everything's fine? So you move your cursor, your mouse cursor on the upper left, and you will see this different views. So you have the report view, you have the table view, and you have the model view. So currently we are on the report view. So what is this report view? Again, this is where the magic happens. This is where you create your visualization. And as you can see in this visualization section, you have the different charts, you have the different plots that you can create depending on your variable. Okay. So don't be too excited. We will be trying some of those on the latter portion. But for now, we will be proceeding to table view. So I want you to click this table view. When you do that, you would see again your data set. Okay, so you would see here we have the ID, you have the year birth, education, marital status, and so on. Okay, so you can easily see that this looks almost the same as with Microsoft Excel, right? It's basically a spreadsheet. So if you're familiar with spreadsheet, then it would be very easy for you to work on this. You just have to be familiar with the buttons to click. And that's one good thing about point and click software, just like this Power BI. It just boils down to familiarity. Okay. What are the buttons that I need to click to do this thing? Okay. So if you want to be adept, okay, if you want to be adept in using this software, you have to practice, right? You have to get that hands-on experience. So if you look at the upper portion, at the upper left of your screen, you would see the file. If you click that, you would see this again, similar with Microsoft Excel, those different files that you have opened before or you have worked before. And you have the home here that contains these different things. So for now, we will be only focusing on this transform data. So this button is basically the same as what you have seen earlier when before we click the load. Okay, this would open the Power Query editor that allows us to manipulate and edit our data set. Okay, but before that, before we do any transformation, I want to discuss the model view because this is something very important. And as you can see right here, how many tables do we have? We only have one. So this thing right here represents one table, the one that we have imported, that Excel file. And it contains this columns or variables. Okay. And As you can see, the icon on the model view, it shows like a connection between multiple tables. So we can see that with Superstore data because we only have one table. So I'll be opening Contoso sales report, and you also have this in that link. So I want you to open that by going to File, and you can open Report and browse reports, and then go to your Downloads folder. You'll be able to open um, Contoso sales report through that. So there's a bit of a delay. So that's one bad thing about Power BI. Uh, it's toxic in your computer's resources. It eats so much of your computer's resources. So it's like a requirement that you have a decent, um, like a decent computer to run it. So here we can see like a web of tables because this Contoso sales report contains numerous tables. We have the calendar table that contains this different columns pertaining to dates. Okay, you have this channel pertaining to channel, and you have this geography pertaining to location, and you have the product pertaining to, for example, manufacturer, the product description, and all of those stuffs. And you have the other tables related to this company. So notice that there exist connections between the tables. Okay, these connections allow us to instance simultaneously work on multiple tables. Again, this is the exact idea of Power Pivot in Microsoft Excel. So if you're familiar with it, then this is not a new thing. However, I want to point out some things here. I want to be as detailed as possible. You see this number right here. So there must be something because you have one here, but you have asterisk at the top. So there must be a meaning behind those things. Why do we have one at the bottom and why do we have an asterisk at the top on the next table? Those links, as you can see right here, this links, oh, it doesn't show the one. Oh, okay, right there. So this links identify how the attributes are related to each table. And to give more context to that, I'll be switching back to my presentation. So can anyone confirm if they can see my PowerPoint again? You can just do a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay, okay, yeah. Thank you very much for the response. Yep. So I want to discuss this different relationships that we can create in the model view. How can we possibly link those tables, right? So the first, well, we call those relationships cardinality, okay? So the first type of relationship there is called one-to-one relationship. In this type, the column in one table has only one instance of a particular value, and the other related table has only one instance of a particular value. Okay, Jeff, it sounds confusing. I did not understand anything of what you said. Simply imagine this. You have a school database. And imagine if, for example, two students are sharing one student number. It would be very chaotic, right? It doesn't make any sense. It actually defeats the purpose of having a student number, right? Because those student numbers should be tied into one and only student. So you can think of it that way. So you have a table containing this student numbers, and you have this another table containing student name. So this table should have one-to-one relationship because it doesn't make any sense if you could have like two students for one student number. Okay, if you have that, then you should fire database manager or whoever manages the database. Okay, so we have the one-to-many relationship, and this is the most common type of relationship. So in a one-to-many relationship, the column in one table has only one instance of a particular value, and the other related table can have more than one instance of a value. Again, let's go back to that example of a school database. So yeah, you have the table containing the student numbers, right? And it can be linked to, okay, what are the subjects taken by this specific students? So one student number could be linked to multiple subjects, right? And that table containing the subject, we can call that subject table, can be linked to another table called instructor table that identifies like like which are the instructors of um this subjects that the students are or have taken or are currently taking. Okay, so that's like basic example. Well, like I think one of the best example for a one-to-many relationship, and that can be applied to not only for a school database but also for many things as well. You can think of that. Okay, database of like a shoe store. Okay, like database of a car dealer. Those can also be applied there. And we have here this last type of relationship called many-to-many. With composite models, you can establish a many-to-many relationship between tables, which removes the requirements for unique values in tables. So way back before 2018, July 2018, Power BI doesn't allow you to actually have many-to-many relationship. So you can only have a many-to-many relationship if you would be linking um, this many-to-one table with another table that has many-to-one relationship. So we can think of like you have two tables, and in the middle you have that linking table that relates those two tables together. So that's the only time that you can have a or rather a many-to-many relationship in Power BI. But that's not the case now because they figured a way to actually yeah, you don't have to really do it now because Power BI lets you have that kind of relationship, a many-to-many relationship in Power BI. So yep, Jacko, do you have any concerns?
One question. In your model,
Yep.
we can see that
Mm,
the outer table, they are always one. Yeah, that they are with a one. That means that with those tables, you are only looking into one particular data
yeah,
or not
you're
necessarily.
only yeah for this one, for example, this geography table that's linked by only the geographic key to the stores table. As you can see in here, this is called foreign key. So if the primary key of a table exists in the other table, it is now a foreign key of that other table. So this one right here actually pertains to the geographic key that exists also in the stores table. So yep, you're correct. You're correct when you said that. Okay. So if you're confused, you can just go back to my example earlier that, okay, I have one student with this student number, then that student can take multiple subjects, and those subjects are stored in a subject table. So I think that's the easiest way to actually visualize it. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Thank you very much for that question. So now, so that's cardinality. Those are the relationships that we can actually build in the model view of Power BI. And this is something that you need to master because it's not realistic for you to have only like one table or two tables in actual field when you're doing the actual work. Because I want to share my experience. Company data sets tend to be very unstructured and very messy. Okay. So, well, at school, we are given this toy data sets, this data sets that are not really totally clean, but not as hideous as compared to those that are existing in most companies, especially those small or even startup companies. So, yep, you have to master this concept, this cardinality or relationships between the tables. Now, I need to go back to my presentation. Yep, I hope you can see it. Can anyone confirm, guys, if you can see it? Okay, so there's a question in the chat box. Hi Jeff, different tables and model view, same as having different sheets. Exactly, exactly. So if you have multiple sheets, if you feed them in Power BI, you would see that they will be converted into multiple tables, into different tables. So that's exactly true. Gotham. So yep, and let's do transformation. We're on the second part, and we have burned 48 minutes. So I hope you're enjoying the session. I mean, I think I've been burning so much time with the first section. So apologies for that, but I hope you're enjoying the session because I'm enjoying it. Okay. So for this one, we will be using the Superstore dataset again. Okay, because we will be doing manipulations with the attributes there. So I want you to do a screenshot of this deck. By the way, if you need the copy of this deck, then you can just send me a mail, and then I'll be giving you a copy of this. I'll be dropping my email address later. So again, I want you to get a screenshot of this, so you have a copy of the steps. So I did it this way so that you can easily follow. So yep, I'll be switching to my Power BI, and we will do the step from the very beginning. Okay, I'll be closing these things. Okay, so yep, I'll close this one also and start my Power BI fresh. So yep. So again, when you open your Power BI, you'll be given this window. So close that, import from data from Excel, get the Superstore data set, click open, and then it would give you the navigator window. And when you have that, just check this checkbox. And now we will click on the transform data. Okay. Earlier, we click on the load data because I just want you to see like the main view of or main window of the Power BI. Now we will be clicking on transform data. When you do that, it would be totally different because it would throw us to the Power Query editor. And this is a completely different beast. If you look at it, earlier we don't have these applied steps, right? You don't see it in the main window of Power BI. So this is here for a reason. It makes the steps visible, okay? And you can actually undo the steps by just clicking on this X. Like for example, um, I've changed the type of the attributes here. If I click on X, then it would be undone. All of the um, formats that I've applied to the attributes will be gone. So you can think of it as like Control Z because you cannot do Control Z in Power Query Editor. And aside from that, um, yeah, it gives you this visual on what are the steps that you've already done in your data set so that you can easily check if you For example, if you messed up with one variable, you can easily like put it in a default form. So that's the advantage of this applied steps. So let me show it to you. So for example, by the way, so let me just give you a quick tour because it could be overwhelming if this is the first time that you'll be seeing this Power Query editor. So let me give you a quick tour. So in this home tab, you would have this option like enter data, close and apply, and all of those things. Um, you would rarely use most of this. So there are just couple of buttons that you'll be clicking most of the time. Similar with Microsoft Excel, right? There are tons of options there, but there are those buttons that are typically used. For us, most of our most of our edits, most of our transformation would be coming from this transform tab at the upper left. So I want you to click that, click transform, and you would see this completely different set of options, right? So you have the transpose, you have the reverse rows. You can use the first row as headers. For example, it is not um, it is not encoded in the correct way. Then most of the time the second row is actually being used as row header. So you can do that, and you can convert that header. So let us go back. Again, let me get a confirmation from you if you are able to get a screenshot of this. Okay. So we will be applying this. We'll be changing the name of year birth column to year of birth. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that. So I'll be switching to a different view on my other computer so that I can see while I'm in my Power BI. Okay, there we go. So the first thing that we have to do is to change the name of year underscore birth. So we can just click on it, and when we double click, you can actually edit the name. So we'll just give it a proper name, year birth or year of birth rather. Just give it a proper name so that when you do visualizations of it, you'll be reducing one step, and that is to change the title. So after that, you'd be needing to replace the marital status. So scroll it a bit to the right, you would see that marital status. Okay. And then we have the following rules. So we need to change these values. So the D is for divorce. Now, how do we change that, Jeff? Should we do it manually? Of course not. It would take us uh, so long, especially if you have multiple or numerous rows. So what you have to do is to click on the column marital status and go to this button at the upper near the middle, replace values. Okay. When you click that, it would give you this window. Okay, this looks familiar. I've seen this before. This is similar to Control F in Microsoft Excel. You're exactly right. Okay. So we'll be going to look for the D and change it to divorced. Simple as that. And you hit OK, and you will see all of those D's would be changed to divorced, right? And we need to repeat that process for the other inputs as well. So go to replace values, look for this time S, change it to single. Simple as that. Okay. Click OK. There we go. Do the same thing for the married. Okay. Not really difficult, Jeff. So P would be together and W would be widowed. Okay. So we have successfully done this steps in changing the inputs based on those rules. So we need to do this second sets of edits. Okay, let me look at the meeting if I'm not yet disconnected. So can you do a screenshot again, everyone, so that you have a copy, so that when I change to Power BI again, you could still follow. Okay, I see your gender. How about the others? Awesome, awesome. Okay, I like that. I like that. Most are active. Okay, so here are the things that we need to do. Most of this are just changing the names, just giving the attributes proper names. And we've already done that, so it's not new to you, and we can easily do that. So let me switch back to my Power BI and let's do it together. Okay. First thing is marital status. We already did that. Kid home. Where is that? So kid home refers to the number of kids at home. So it should be changed to number of kids. Okay. And also we have the teen home. Number of teens. If you have the number of kids, then how many are teens? So we change that to number of teens. Okay. And GT customer should actually be enrollment date. So I suppose this shows like when is the first time the customer went to the shop, something like that. So the next one is MNT wines. So this basically refers to the amount spent on wines. So we change that to that spent on wine. And this one amount spent on fruits. And this one amount spent on meat. This one amount spent on fish. Okay. And we should also change this to amount spent on sweets. And this one to amount spent on gold. Okay. And then here's one new thing. On the latter portion, on the last bullet, we'll be needing to create a new column. How do we do that? How do we create a new column? So you have an add column at the upper left. So it's very easy because you just have to find like the proper button to click. It's not really complicated at all, as you can see. So what's the task in here? To create a new column called total purchase. That's the name of the new column that we will be creating, and it will be the sum of non-web purchase. So this non-catalog purchases, and this non-store purchases. So we need to add all of these columns together to create that new column, total purchases. So in order for us to do that, again, I'm currently on the add column tab. I'm hovering at it. So from here, what I want you to click is this new column or custom column rather. Hit that, and then it would give you this window, custom column. So what goes in here would be the name, total purchases, right? The name that we want. And here we have the formula. So slowly we are transitioning to writing a bit of codes. But well, this is technically not a code, but it's near to towards it. So we want to we want to get the sum of number of purchases. You can just scroll down and look for those columns. Num of web purchases plus nom catalog purchases, and then nom store purchases. We add all of those three columns together, and the sum of those three would be the total purchases. This new column, it doesn't exist um, by default. So after that, it actually shows you if you have error in your syntax. So for example, I change it to just that. Mm, about this one. Okay. Oh, okay. This one. Okay, there you go. So it gives you like a red color and this warning right here that token EOF expected. So it gives you an idea if you messed up with the syntax. Okay. So just like that, I accidentally removed um the square bracket and actually added um a curly bracket. So yep, all good. Click OK, and then boom, you have your total purchase column. Okay. So we have done all the steps. Now I need to go back to my presentation and look for the new sets of things to do. Now, what we need to do is to remove, okay, I hope you're still with me, okay? We have to remove those columns that we have used in order to compute for the total purchases. For some reason, we don't need them, okay? How do we do that? So again, before I switch to more Power BI, I want you to get a screenshot so that you can easily follow through the process that I'll be doing. Okay, so give me a cue. Give me a Yeah, Yajinder says delete. Yeah, that's correct. Yep, yep. So let me switch to my Power BI again. And where was it? Okay, so we're here again. Remove those columns. We don't need them. To num catalog purchases, num store purchases, and num deals purchases. Where is that? Okay, we don't need this three. So I highlighted all of them by clicking on the control button in my keyboard. So while clicking that, I'll be choosing this columns and then how do we delete them? The easiest way is to do a right click and you have this options. You have remove columns and that's what we'll be using. If we hit that, then boom, you already successfully deleted all of those columns. Okay. And yep, let me give like a quick discussion on what are the things that you can see in your on your screen. So you have this ABC 123 right here. So this is a general format. So currently, these figures that you have in this non-web visits column is not a number nor a text. It's on a generic format currently. So that's actually clickable. If you click on that, you would see all of the different data types in Power BI. You can choose decimal number. You can choose fixed decimal number. For example, you are working on a currency variable. You can do whole numbers, percentage, and so on. So again, you click on that icon, and for example, this is a count variable, right? Number. So I can just click a whole number for it. And as you can see in here, a new step has been added, change type. If I click on the X, it would put it back to the ABC123 or the generic format. So let's again put that into a whole number. Okay. And aside from that, you have this drop down option. So when you click on that, you would see the values that are present on that column. So you can do load more, but at least you have like a visual of the values that you have in there. It's also a way to verify, okay, do I have any decimal values in here, or does it consist of like a combination of a number or a text? So it can easily be checked through this drop down option. And you can also do filters in here. Like for example, you want to filter like I want only all of those that are greater than 5 or whatever. So this is pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, going back to the step, what we want to do next is to change the name of num web visits, this one, to number of web visits. Okay. Just to verify if you're still there. No, Gotham, it will not affect that new column that we have created. So it's totally fine to create those columns. They're not like dependent on each other. So yep, let me go back to that and yep, let's continue this. We also need to change the number of web purchases. Give it a proper name. Okay. And after that, change the name of the complaint column and put it existence of complaints. Okay. And we have to change the format to text. So currently, it's on a generic format. So how do we change that? Click on it and then look for the text. So it's right there. If you click that, then while the inputs are numbers, those are recognized as text. So if you're familiar with Python, that's like putting a number in between quotation marks. So it is a string, right? Even if it's like technically a number, but if you put it inside quotation marks, then it would be read in the Python environment as a string. So it's similar to that. It's a similar idea. So the next thing that we need to do is to change the inputs. So if the value is 1, replace it with yes. So how do we do that? We have already done that, but I'll be showing you another way. Easier way is to do a right click on that column and you have the replace values in here. Wow, that's just basically the same as with Excel. You have the options right here, but you can also quickly access those options when you do a right click. So that's pretty useful actually. When you click on that, it would show you again this window. So we change all of the one to yes. Okay. And okay, Jeff, it doesn't change anything, it seems, because all is 0. Now, how do we verify that? Click on the drop down, and no, you're incorrect because there exists yes. So there are ones in there, even though you only see zeros at your screen. So we do the same for the zeros, replace values, and find for 0, replace it with no. Okay. So we should also do the same for the response column. Where is that? It's here, and we change it to accepted offer. Okay. And replace values. We would be changing the 1 to yes again. Okay, we received an error. Why is that? If you hover to that error, enter a number of value. Okay, because currently we have not yet set it to be a text. So since we'll be changing it to a text, then we should first specifically do that here. And then redo the step. So 1 would be yes. And you will not be encountering that error again. Okay, so hit OK and then do the same for the zeros, and boom, you're already done with that step. Now, the next thing we have to do is to actually go to the Home tab, close, and then apply. Again, from the Add column or Transform, you go to the Home tab, and on the upper left, you would see this Close and Apply button. Click on that, close and apply, and it will be fed in our main view of Power BI. And we'll update everything. And apologies for those interruption. I'm currently suffering from flu. But can you still see my Power BI, everyone? Okay, okay. Yeah. Again, the easiest way to verify if we have successfully changed all of those things that we have done, and we have to verify if it's actually loaded in here. You can just go to the table view, and as you can see, all is well. You can see the amount spent on wine. You can see we already have the total purchases in here, right? So everything looks good. However, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Okay. So I want to go back to my presentation, and we will be going to the data view. Data view, this is actually the table view. Some call it data view, but in by default, what you see in your screen would be the table view, but they're synonymous. Okay. What we have to do is to change the format of this enrollment date to year first and then month. Okay, again, do a screenshot of my screen, and we will do the steps together. Okay, so please give me a signal if you already have the copy. There we go. Thank you very much, Emil. How about the others? Thank you, Sri, Yojinder, Rajat, Akila, Dego. Okay, okay. Now I think we can switch. Yep. So again, this is the data view or table view. So if you go to that, you would see this variables that we have already transformed. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to look for the enrollment date. Where is it? There we go. That enrollment date. When you click on that, it would show you this options. You can rename that here, double click here. So there are multiple ways of doing the same thing. And currently, it's on a text data type. So what we want to do right now is to convert it into datetime format, because it won't allow us to actually change it to the year, month, date format if it's currently on text. And then click on this format. This drop down option would give you the option for the year and month. There are actually tons of formats right here, but we'll be using this one. Year first and then the month. Okay. So, but again, there are multiple, like, different types of formats that you can actually use. So click on that, and then as you can see, it's already changed to that format. And then the next things that we have to do is to change the formats for the income, the amount spent on wine, and all other variables that should be formatted as currency. So currently they are on text, so we can apply fixed decimal number, click yes, and then boom, you already have that currency. And I want it to be US dollar. So you can just change that currency to US dollar by click on the dollar sign. Okay. Are we good? Do you follow? Any Any issues you've encountered so far?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep, Jago, go ahead.
If we decide, for example, in the previous view, format view, to change a number to say not a decimal, but the hard number, I would say. When we come to this view, we lose the data,
Yeah.
the decimal points.
The, sorry, I wasn't able to fully understand your question. Were you asking if what happened to the decimal numbers?
So the first part of the uploading the data, we went
Hmm.
to the formatting view.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There, there we can decide if a number is an entire number or it's or with integers or maybe it's a
Mm-hmm.
string, whatever.
Yep.
But if we decide, for example, that a number it's an integer,
Mm.
and then we come to this view and try to put some decimal, we lose the
Oh,
decimal.
I see. Would we be losing those decimal values, right? That's what
Right. I
that's your
ask you.
question. Um, yeah, let me think. Based on my experience, we'll not be losing them. Um, yeah, if I can remember it correctly, we'll not be using that. If you change it, like originally from the Power Query editor, let me see. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. If we change that to a whole number in the Power Query editor, it would be loaded to this and it would update everything. So what you can see would be only a whole number. So you would be actually losing that decimal part. Yeah, yeah. So be careful with that. So if you want to retain the decimal values, you have to avoid making it as a whole number. But you can like repeat the process from very start and like or go to the Power Query editor and just undo that step. That's I think the easiest way to fix it. But yeah, if I can remember it correctly, it would remove those decimal values.
That's on the home and transport data.
Yeah, exactly. You go to home
Okay.
and then go to transform data. It will throw you to the Power Query editor window. That's correct. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, yep. That's a great question. That's a great question. Yep. I think originally this income has a decimal value, if I can remember that correctly. But anyway, yep. I think yeah, it would remove those values. Whatever you do, in the Power Query editor, it would update your data set. So again, it's always easy to go back. Just check on the applied steps. And yep, what do we have here next? So let me see my presentation just to make sure that we're on track. Okay, we're changing the formats. So we are looking into the values and we are trying to actually change this. Oh, you're trying to change this into currencies. All of this. Oh, there we go. Text into fixed decimal number and click on the dollar sign. And if you're thinking, Jeff, why don't you highlight all of these columns and then apply this the steps so that you can minimize uh, the time. You cannot do that. In this table view, you're not allowed to actually highlight multiple columns at once. So it can only be done in the Power Query editor. So yep, let's just change these things quickly. Yep. Amount spent on gold. I think this is the last one. Okay, so we have already changed all of the all of these amounts into a proper like currency format. And let me go back to my slides and see what's next. Okay, so we'll be discussing data analytics expression. So we'll be doing um a bit of coding. Okay, again, these are just basic syntax in Power BI DAX. So the reason why I want you to like have a basic of this is because the power of Power BI actually lies in DAX, because DAX allows flexibility. So for example, you want to change like your dates into like every 21 days for the purpose of like forecasting. You want to manipulate how this attributes will be presented. You can do all of those in DAX. Okay, you want to filter the values, then um, you can do it through syntax. So let me just go through this really quickly. So what are the common uses of DAX? So creating measures. What are measures in Power BI? Measures are actually calculated or dynamic calculations. And we use measures for two purposes. One is for visualization. For example, you want to show like the total sales in a card, then you can just do a sum of that column and it would give you that value. And you can also use DAX to create new columns. So you see the process that we did earlier. You can actually do that faster with data analytics expression. You don't need to go back and forth to Power Query Editor and go through all of those steps. You can automate the process. Not really automate, but you can make it faster through syntax. And this is the example that I gave before. If you want your data to be presented in like a specific uh, duration, then you can do that through this filtering and slicing, creating of key performance indicators. So this is very powerful. Okay, so although I'll be showing you only the basic things, okay, but it should kickstart your journey with how to um, do um, intermediate to advanced data analytics expression. You can also do managing relationships. So you don't need to go to the model view to establish this relationships between the table. You can actually do that through codes. Okay, so I'll be showing you some examples. Okay, and you can practice it through the pizza data set that you can find in the link that I've sent you. So here we will be trying this set of measures. Okay, how can we apply this and generate new measures, new calculations in Power BI? So I have this example. Calculate the total quantity sold. So I have here, let me explain the parts of this. Total quantity sold. So this would be the name of your calculation or your measure. And this sum is a function that gets your sum from this table. So what goes in here is is your table name, and then this quantity is actually a column inside your table. So to see it clearly, I'll be opening the pizza dataset. Um, be opening that to show exactly to you how to set up Okay. So please let me know if you're able to load the pizza data set. So I want you to load table one. So table one is just a copy that I created for the pizza sales. Okay, click on that. It will show you this attributes like order details ID. So this is the data set from the Maven Pizza Challenge. So that challenge is a famous data analytics challenge. I think some of you are familiar with it. So click on load, and once you do that, it would again feed the data to your Power BI, and yep, we can do the DAX. So go to table view. Okay. So again, what do we have earlier? Mm, okay. Mm, yeah, transform data. No, no, no. Okay. So when you're in the table view, I'm trying to click on this. I missed a like an important step right here. So let's settle things. Are you on the same page as with me? The one you are seeing at your screen? Okay, okay. Thanks, Noshin. How about the others? Are you on the same window? Okay. Now I want you to click on new quick measure. Okay. Or rather, not new quick measure, but new measure. Okay, apologies for that. New quick measure is using intelligence to creating new measures. But in this, we will be renaming it. Let me see. What's the name that I put in here? Total quantity underscore sold. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to Power BI. So let's rename that total underscore quantity underscore sold. So this would be the name of that measure. Okay. And then we will be using the sum function. Once you apply, for example, type in sum, hit on tab. If you click on tab, it would give you like the options that you can choose from. So this would be the table name. So again, this is the table that I'm working on right now. So that goes in there, table one. And then the square brackets, what goes inside would be the column name. So
Yeah.
you want in
Can
there.
you repeat from the quick measure?
Okay, okay. No, no, it should not be the quick measure. Apologies for it. It should be um it should be new measure. Jago. Apologies for it. It's not quick measure but new measure. If you click on new measure, this formula bar would be clickable. Earlier I was trying to click on it, but I forgot to do the clicking of the new measure first. So you click on this first, and it would give you this formula bar. Okay, do you follow? Excuse me for like few seconds. I'll just get some water. I'll be back immediately. Okay. Okay. So sorry to keep you waiting. So yep, once you click that new measure, this area would be um clickable, and you can edit and put our DAX in there. So let's first type sum. After typing sum, click on tab in your keyboard and it will show you this suggestions. So what goes in there is my table name and uh, here what goes in that would be the quantity. So hit it with a closing parenthesis and then just hit enter or you can click on this commit, this check icon. Either way, it should work. Okay, so currently I already have that, so I'll just rename it as underscore two. So when we do that, hit on enter and you will see right here, okay, this has a calculator icon. However, if you browse through your data set, you cannot find any total quantity sold because that's the advantage of the calculated measures. It won't really add memory usage because it won't appear in your table view. It's only there for you to use. Like for example, I can create a visualization out of that. Like I can create a card. I'm on the report view right now. I can create a card that would show, okay, the total quantity sold, right? The one that I showed you earlier, the dashboard of my student in SkillsFire, she was able to do those things through this. Okay, so you can also do this without DAX. So there's a way, but it would be better if we practice using DAX in generating this values. Okay, were you able to do this, everyone? Do you follow? Okay, thank you very much for the response. Now we try the other syntax, right? We can do like, for example, aside from sum, you want to know the counts. So total number of orders, you just have to, again, do the same process in the table view, click on, click on the new measure, right? The new measure, and then count of orders. I'll just put it this way, and I will be applying this count function, use the table, and then use the order ID because supposedly this order IDs are unique. And when I do that, hit enter, and then boom, you already have that measure. And again, where do we use that? For visualization purpose also. Hit on cards. Um, sorry about that. Click on cards and then look for that measure, drag it, and then boom, you already have that. So, so that's how useful these measures are. And you can actually use that measure to calculate other measures as well. So those are a bit complicated at this point. So we will skip that, but continue to some examples, okay? To some functions that we can do. We can do like get the average. So this is the most typical statistics that's being asked or being reported. So here, it's just the same framework. You have the measure name on the left. You have the function average. You have the table name, and you have the column name. Yep, Jacob, go ahead, please. Yep. Do you want to ask anything or clarify something, Jacob?
Oh, sorry, that was by mistake.
Oh, okay, okay, no problem. So I want you to get a screenshot of this and try applying it. Okay. I want to like fast track the other steps, but I just want you to have that idea on how to apply it. But basically, if you follow the steps that I've shown later, you can apply all of the other syntax as well. So you can just get a screenshot of this and um, try it on your own. Okay. All right. So let's make things a bit complicated. Okay. Let's increase the difficulty, the complexity a bit. So how about hmm, this one? This one looks complicated, right? It's a bit different from the things that I've shown you, like this max, this count rows, this min. Those are basic stuff. But the divide looks something odd, complicated. It isn't actually. If you look at the parts, you have the name of the measure, you have the divide, which is the function. What goes in here would be the columns, okay? The columns. So let's do that. Let's see if we will be able to get the quotient from this column and this column. And the zero here gives us the ability to handle potential division by zero. So it won't give us like an infinity or anything weird or an error in like other platforms. It gives us error. So let's do that. Yep, Jago, go ahead.
The average unit price, that was a calculation that we made in the previous class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Mm,
basically they are asking us to, in that question,
mm,
calculate a new number and then do the
mm.
division between those two.
Oh, this one, the one with the division, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you just have to basically for every values in each of the rows of this. I don't know. In this case, yeah, you're correct. Apologies for it. You have to have this average unit price before um you can get the quotient. So these are not actually columns, but actually measures. Good point, Jago. Thanks for pointing it out. So these are measures. Okay, I think I've said earlier columns. So this couldn't be column because as you can see, we don't have any table right here. So these are measures that we use in order to get a new measure, which is named this one, average unit price per quantity. Great observation. How about the others? Were you able to follow that? That this two things right here are actually measures? Can I get a thumbs up or like any response just to make sure that this is clear? So this one, this total quantity sold is when we apply the sum. And this average unit price is when we apply the average. So you're using them in order to get this one. So it is these two values are measures that we use to get a new measure. So that's the second like use of measures aside from using them in the visualizations. Okay. Yep. I think I'm going over time. Apologies for it, guys. I'm trying to uh, hasten up a bit. So, yep, in here, uh, these are filter functions, and this is actually very important. So I'll be allocating more time for this. I want you to do a screenshot, okay, of this one because I'll be doing this. to show you um how it should be written in your formula bar. Okay.
Sure. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yep. Go ahead, Sri.
So I believe some of us have classes, and we can wrap
Oh,
it up
okay.
in 10 minutes.
I see. I see. Okay. This unfortunate. Yeah. Apologies. I'm a bit. I think. Um. Yeah. I thought I can deliver everything in like one and a half
No
hours.
worries. Can we have a Q&A session right now?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep. So I'll be wrapping things up in 10 minutes so that you'll not be late with your classes. So yep. I'll be showing this
Let
to
me
you.
just
Okay.
ask the audience. Does anyone of you have a class?
Yep. Um.
We have the classes cancelled for the morning.
What about the other class? So no one has a class except me.
Don't have class. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff.
No
Actually, most
problem.
of us has class starting from 11 a.m. onwards now. So, is it possible for you if we can cover the visualization aspect within next 10 to 15 minutes, so that we know how to use those tools? Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 So here's the thing. Since you already know like the framework of these things, I'll be giving you like a copy of this deck, okay, so that you can easily somehow just copy and paste it in your formula bar. You can just change the parts, like your table name. What goes in there would be table one, and pizza category is actually the correct column name. So I'll be proceeding to creating the visualization. So that's a great point because it would be needing a couple of minutes actually. So yep, let's do that, and I'll be using for that section the Superstore data set. Okay, so where do we do that in the report view? So we'll be doing all the visualizations here. So this is called your canvas. Okay, this area that shows build visuals with your data is called the canvas. You can change the color of that. You can change it to whatever you prefer, or whatever theme you have. Okay, and then you have here in the visualizations tab all the different visualization options that you can do depending on your data set. So let's do it. Let's create our dashboard. Okay, I want you to do this with me. Open your Superstore data set, load it in your Power BI. No need to do the measures, no need to do the coding. So click on this drop down option to see all of the columns that we have. So here's the thing, okay? In building visualizations, you don't want to overwhelm your audience. You don't want to bombard them with tons of figures, tons of numbers, because that would be very confusing. Okay. So what goes in the upper portion of your canvas would be the most important figures. Okay. The most important parts or aspect of your report that you want to highlight. Okay. And why is that? Why do we put it at the upper portion of your canvas? Because the normal way that people browse through reports is from top to bottom. So they always look at that portion from the very beginning. They always start at the top and go browse all the way to the bottom. So let's do that. So for me, I want all of these amounts to be presented in terms of cards. Okay, so this cards, you can click on this card new. So this has more functionality as compared to the card that you can see right here. So this is the old card. So we use that, click on it, click on the column, it would give you the value. As simple as that. Put it at the bottom, okay? Then do the same for the fruits. Put it at the bottom, gold. Oh, sorry, it's now merged. Do it for the also for the gold. Okay, and do it also for the meat. Oh, I did an error. I committed an error with the spelling, so yep, apologies for that. For meat, and then card, then sweets. Okay, now these cards are extremely large. So what I can do is to highlight all of them by pressing on my control button and then go to format your visual. This is the location in which you can edit your visual, like the dimensions. You can change the size, the shape. So you can do like a snip tap, both top or rounded rectangle. So we can do those different customizations. We can also change like the fonts of the values. So this call out, we can also change the alignment and so on. Okay. But what I want to do is actually change the size. So go to the this general button and then change the size. So maybe I would be putting it 150 would I think would be fine, or 200, maybe 250. Yep. So let me put it that way. So with visualization, you need more time for this and a bit of creativity. So I'll be showing to you like a version of this in which I have more time in making the formats, okay, the necessary changes. I'll just showing you the process of how to put the variables into like the charts that we or the options that we have for the visualizations here, the different types of charts. So now we already have this variables, and hmm what goes next would be, for example, education. So you'll be deciding, okay, how should I filter my visualization to make it interactive? You can filter it by date, you can filter it by education, you can filter it by location. Whenever or whatever it is, or rather, however, that it would show the most insights of your data. So since this refers to expenses of people going to the grocery store, then I'll be using education as a slicer to see how the values are changing depending on the educational attainment of the customers, if that makes sense. Okay. So how do we do that? We go to the slicer option, the one you are seeing right now here. Click on that and choose the education. So now you have a slicer. Whenever you change, okay, like for example, what if I only select PhD? You see that the values at the bottom are changing. So this values only refer to when the customers are PhD. Do you follow, everyone? Can I get a thumbs up if you can still if you're still with me? Okay. So this is the very first thing that I've shown you earlier with the dashboard of my student. And you can change actually how this looks. So click on it, okay? Go to format visual and you can change the slicer settings. You can do it as tile. You can do it as drop down. If you want to save some space, you can do it like that. And you can also like change like how the values would be shown. Like for example, um I want here to give me like an option for multiple selection. You can do it, you can turn it on in here. You can also just make it like a single select, or you have the select all option. So currently I don't have that. So if you click on the drop down option, you won't see anything like that. But if I turn it on, then you would now see an option to select all. Okay. So that's how you change the slicer settings. So as you can see, it's already interactive now, although we haven't really completed all of the things that we should put in there. So what we should do next is to check on other variables. Marital status. Okay. How do you think we should present marital status? Through a bar chart or through a pie chart? So here's the thing. Pie charts could be very hideous if you have numerous categories. So if you have like 5 categories or more than 5 categories, never use a pie chart because that would be horrendous. Look at this. If you use a, a pie chart that contains tons of categories, it doesn't make any sense. It's not an effective visualization, as you can see in this example, right? So you have to look for other option if you have tons of categories. Maybe a table would be better, like a matrix table. And aside from that, I also want to highlight the difference between a histogram and a bar chart because typically students and even professionals are treating them as the same, but they are not. So it depends on the type of variable that you are working on. So if in your x-axis, if you are putting there a continuous variable like height, weight, those with measurements or came from measurements, then the best is to create histograms. So the bars of the histograms are connected, as you can see at the right portion of your screen. And then the bars of the bar charts are exclusive. They don't touch each other. There's exclusivity between the categories. There's no overlapping. The reason why these are connected for the histograms is because they are using upper class and lower class boundaries to actually connect the values in your x-axis. So if you go back to like um, introductory statistics class, you would see that like the step-by-step process in creating this histogram, and it uses upper class and lower class boundaries. And let's go back to our Power BI. And okay, Jeff, let's create a donut chart for marital status. Okay, it doesn't show anything. Why? In the legend, I've only input marital status. So it only shows like the different categories in our marital status variable. I should also put the values in here. So you should look now and see that we already have the distributions, the values, the counts for each categories in your marital status. Do you follow, everyone? So even though, for example, we have here 6 categories in marital status, it still makes sense. If you look at the distribution in the donut chart, you would see that okay, widow actually comprises like a majority of the marital status of the customers, right? you can easily see that. So it's not really bad at all, even though we have exceeded like the five categories. So we can put it somewhere at the top because this is important, because they say if you're married, or if you have a partner, then you'll be most likely going to the groceries most often as compared to single people. So yep, I think single people, they can live off from convenience stores, but for people with partners, then they would be most likely going to grocery stores, such as the superstore, in this case. And aside from that, um, let's see what other visualizations we can do. We have here like a recency variable, and I'm thinking, okay, what visualization should I use if I have a time factor, like a time variable? So, or I should say enrollment date is the one that is like a time. Okay, exactly, Ojenter, line. Most often, you would see people using bar charts with variables that are like time related. Um, it's technically incorrect. Why? Because the reason why we are presenting values across time is that we want to see patterns. Like, is there seasonality? Is there a seasonal pattern? And we want to see the values. Like, what are the points in time when we have the highest values, like the highest sales, the highest number of complaints, something like that. So you won't see that easily with, it's not that obvious if you use bar charts. So bar charts, typically we use them if the categories in our x-axis are exclusive. Okay, so we do that. Let's hit on line chart here, and then what goes in the y-axis would be, what should be placed in the y-axis? Maybe total purchases would work, and then what goes in the x-axis would be the enrollment date. So as you can see in here, we have a very erratic line chart. Why do you think is this line chart very erratic? The reason for that is the frequency. Okay, we currently have it in days. So we can remove that in order to make it like finer. So as you can see right now, it's at the very lowest level on months. So we can see this values, like we have the highest sales in the third quarter, the month of August. Then there's a decline up until December. And then we have again like the highest sale in January. It's weird because again, if this is a grocery store, then typically the sales peak around holiday season, December. So let's see if that's the case for the other years as well. We have the December right here. So it seems like, yeah, every December, um, the sales tend to be, the number of purchases tend to be lower. Could it be that families are taking their vacations during that time? So again, those insights, those questions can be answered by further analysis. Typically, visualizations are like first steps or first step before doing like a root cause analysis. So asking those questions, why do we observe that total purchases decline during the holiday season? It's counterintuitive. What could be the reason? Okay. So you can change things in here like the visuals. You can add a slider. If you do uh if you switch this on, you can actually move this, like put it in like specific periods, and you can also adjust this the values on your um y-axis. And instead of total, we can actually change it. So we go to add to your visual. Currently, it's in counts. So what if you want it in average? You just click on this drop down option, change it to this time. I think we don't have any option for it to be changed mm, to average. But this is the location in which you can change the how the value should be shown. So it seems like for this one, we only have total purchase. Okay. And aside from that, hmm, you see that if we change this, all of the values are actually changing, right? And you can play with the different visualizations that you can see in here. Unfortunately, we don't have like a geotag that would allow us to create a field map. But if we have that column that refers to location like states or cities, then you can easily um, create a map that shows like the distribution on where the sales are coming from. And to maybe end the session, I want you to see this like um, version in which I have more time to actually edit the charts. So we need, especially with visualizations and dashboards, we need more time because there are numerous edits that have to be done in order to it to be more appealing. So let me show this to you. So this visualization, I've done this for about almost 2 hours. Do you see it? The Superstore dashboard. Everyone, can I get a confirmation from you? Yep. So this one looks better. I'm not saying that this is like like a top tier dashboard because I'm not that artistic to be honest with you. But you have all the things that you need here to reveal the insights from your data set. Like these are slicers, right? You can change that to basic only. Then the values would change, and also the marital status. You can also change it this way. And I've included here an income goal. So this income goal is like it is a gauge chart in which you can observe, monitor your status as compared to your target. So I've included in here that so that we can see like if you're the manager of Superstore Grocery, you can easily see okay how far am I to my yearly target sales or income. And also you see this icons, so those are nice visuals so that it would be appealing if your audience look at it. So I've also included here the slider. So yep, basically that's all for this webinar. So if you have questions, apologies for going over time. I think it's just impossible to have all of the discussion uh, be compressed in just 1.5 hours. So I want to provide as more details as possible and not just to just run through all of the topics without discussing them in detail. So, yep, any questions?
Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for your valuable insight. And I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to you and Skillspire for sharing this invaluable insight and expertise with us. I encourage each one of you, please follow Mr. Jeff and explore the further learning opportunities with the Skillspire. And thank you, Jeff, once again, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone,
Thank you.
and hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.